Hi, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know, my name is Katharine, and in today's episode of Vlogmas, I'm going to be talking about my family holiday traditions. These holiday family traditions are set apart from stereotypical family traditions from other families throughout the United States or the world for the holiday season, and this is something that me and my family specifically do. So let's just get into my specific set of holiday traditions that my particular family does every single year, and or has done every single year for that matter in the past, and just kind of describe them. Hopefully this gives you ideas of like what you can do during the holiday season for traditions with you and your family, or maybe it just inspires you to create your own family traditions. It doesn't have to be what me and my family does. So let's just get into it. I have a list of 5 things that we do in particular apart from like stereotypical family traditions like opening Christmas gifts and stuff like that. But let's just get into like the particulars of it all. So the first thing that I have is, even though Christmas Eve is like a big time to have like holiday parties and things like that, but my Grammy would specifically have a Christmas Eve party at her house every single year. She has since passed away. She's no longer with us, but she was like the matriarch of my family, specifically my mom's side of the family. And she would have Christmas Eve parties at her house every single year growing up. And she would make these things called sauerkraut balls. And sauerkraut is a type of food. It's particularly associated with German types of food. Even though I'm not German, which sounds funny, my Grammy would make these sauerkraut balls because my grandfather was German. For technicality purposes, like my grandfather, and I called him Grandpa because he was the only grandpa I knew from my mom's side of the family, was actually my mom's stepdad, and he was German. And that makes sense. That actually makes sense that I'm not German, is because he's my mom's stepdad technically, but like I grew up knowing him as Grandpa. Like he was my grandfather. Like my other grandfather, like my biological grandfather, like was never in my mom's life really. My grandmother and my biological grandfather got divorced when my mom was like 1, and I never knew him, and he also died before I was born in like the 80s, so I never met him. He was Sicilian, so I grew up mostly like with like the German foods during Christmas time. So she would make these sauerkraut balls, and sauerkraut, like I mentioned before, is like a German type of a food, and you either love it or you hate it. But my grandmother used to make it in such a way that I'm like, oh, I love it. So she used to like make it shaped into like a ball, and she used to like deep fry it, and then you would eat it with mustard, and it was so delicious. Like the way my grandmother made it was like amazing. I don't even know how she made it. I think my mom has like an index card of like a handwritten recipe on it with how she made it, but like I've tried to search it online too of like how other people make it, but like it's not the same. Like my grandmother's sauerkraut balls were amazing. They were delicious. And whenever I taste them, it just reminds me of Christmas. And then surrounding Christmas Eve too, I also want to mention that my Uncle Mike, so my mom's brother, used to hide scratch tickets throughout the house at that same Christmas Eve party. And so he would like separate it into like the younger cousins and like the older cousins. So like he would hide 2 separate tickets, like, okay, like older cousins like 10 and up, you would have to like go find your scratch ticket, and whoever finds the scratch ticket like gets to scratch it, and if you win, like awesome. So he would usually make like the older cousins like hiding place for the scratch ticket a little bit harder, and then like I was always the youngest, one of the youngest out of all the cousins, so I was always in like the younger cousin crowd, and he would always make the hiding place a little bit easier because we were younger. And then he'd be like, okay, like I'll younger cousins, like 10 and under, like, go find your scratch ticket. And so I never used to find the scratch tickets. I felt like it was always like my brother. But that was like another like Christmas Eve tradition that would really excite me. And then going on to like the second category that I have here, it's all on my phone. I had to write it down. So like on Christmas Eve night, like after we would get back from like my grandmother's Christmas Eve party, I would always put out like carrots and things and like other nuts and seeds and vegetables, but I specifically remember carrots for Santa's reindeer. Like even after I stopped believing in Santa, I would still do that just like for the tradition of it. And then I would also always wake up with my Christmas stocking at like the foot of my bed when I woke up. Like I didn't have to like go to the Christmas tree to find my Christmas stocking. Like Santa would just like automatically bring my stuffed Christmas stocking like to the foot of my bed. And then when I woke up, the first thing that I would do is like open my Christmas stocking. And then the third category that I have is watching It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life is an older black and white Christmas movie. And this is just something that I do individually, like on my own, like on my personal level. Like I don't specifically do this like with my family or anything, but this is just something I do on my own. I like to watch it. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, and I love it so much. And then the fourth category that I have is decorating the Christmas tree in my room. This is another thing that I do on my own. So I, like a few years ago, I think like 3 or 4 years ago, I bought a Christmas tree from Walmart for like $30, not $3, $30. And it's one of those pre-lit Christmas trees. It's like a 6-footer, and I decorate it with ornaments and things, and I put it in my room just so that like when I come into my room, like I can feel the Christmas spirit. For those who don't know, I still live at home, just for like financial reasons, because it's expensive getting apartments out here in New England, specifically in the Boston area. Like a studio apartment is easily like $2,000, and then a 1-bedroom is like easily $2,500. So I can't afford that right now, but I am living at home, and like the small things that I can do to make my room feel like my own space is like doing things like that, like decorating my own Christmas tree in my room during the Christmas season. And then like also on that same extent of like the Christmas tree, growing up, I would also get these little angel ornaments from my aunt. It was like a tradition that she would give me like every Christmas is an angel ornament. And I still have like dozens and dozens of, you know, angel ornaments that my aunt gave me when I was growing up. And then the fifth and final category that I have is like things that I do around my hometown. So one is the Rockport tree lighting. So every Christmas time in December, they have Santa actually come in on a fishing boat or a lobstering boat through Rockport Harbor, and he waves to all the kids like on the land, and then he comes ashore, and then he takes pictures with the kids, and then after that there's like Christmas caroling around the big Christmas tree in the center of town, and then they do the Christmas tree lighting, and there's hot chocolate, and like there's actually a candy store in town called Tuck's Candy. They have 2 shops actually, but it's the same store where they make like handmade candy canes and stuff like that, and it's just really, really cool to be in Rockport during that time of the year. And along those same lines, they have this thing called the Christmas pageant, which is a separate event on a separate day, usually like further into December. Like the Christmas tree lighting is usually at the beginning of December, and then the Christmas pageant's like more towards like the actual Christmas day. And it's basically a Christmas pageant, as you can imagine, where the nativity starts out at like a church downtown, and it like walks through like the main street of like the downtown area and ends up at this other church, surprisingly, to like this nativity scene. And like there's singing of like different like hymns that are Christmas related. it's just funny because you see like donkeys and like actual donkeys and different like other farm animals that would have probably like sheep and stuff that would have been seen like during the actual birth of Jesus, and they all, you know, walk through town and they come upon like this stable looking thing. You all probably are familiar with like the nativity scene, and like that's what it exactly looks like in our town. Like it's set up outside of this church and they all just kind of stand there. And it's funny, like we sing some hymns and then it's like, okay, like it's over now, and it's like a little parade through town, and then it's like, okay, they're there, great. And then you sing some hymns, and then you can like take pictures with them and stuff like that, but that's like about it. And it's like kind of like a petting zoo situation too, and it's like you go up and you can pet the donkeys and the sheep and whatever. But yeah, it's kind of a cool tradition that my town has, along with like the Christmas tree lighting too. But essentially those are like the 5 things that I like do specifically around the holiday season, the Christmas season, is those 5 things. I really love my town, I love my family, and how like unique the things that I'm able to do during the holiday Christmas season, because I know that there's like stereotypical things that you can do like during the holiday season. Like, of course, you can always like go on a Christmas light drive where you go and see all the Christmas lights that are at different people's houses. Of course, you can maybe go ice skating. I know even if you are in a warmer climate, I know there's those like artificial ice rinks and things like that you can go do. You can always, you know, go get hot chocolate somewhere, or of course a lot of people, you know, open up presents on Christmas Day, but like those are kind of just like the stereotypical traditions that a lot of people have during the holiday Christmas season. But I love how there's like individual things that I do with my family, or even just on my own, because it makes it even that much more special, if that makes sense. It makes it unique to who I am and like what I personally do during the holiday season. It just makes it feel more Christmassy, if that makes sense. Like the Christmas spirit is more there for me in my heart. And of course, like the most important part of Christmas is that like Jesus was born on Christmas. Well, I don't think he was actually born on Christmas, if I'm being honest. Like I think it's just the time or the day that we celebrate it. I don't think he was like actually born on Christmas, but like that's the time that we celebrate it, is on Christmas Day on December 25th. But that is the most important part of Christmas, though. That is the hope that we have in Jesus Christ, that he was born, and then he eventually, you know, 33 years later dies on the cross for our sins. But at least on Christmas Day we celebrate his birth, because it's that hope of him and that he came to save us from our sins. So even though I am listing off all of these like Christmas and holiday traditions that I do on a personal level, or like with my family or with my town, I just want you to remember that the true meaning of Christmas is that Jesus was born, and that he gave you and I hope, and that he saved both you and I from our sins. So just remember that this Christmas season, that the Christmas spirit isn't just about a feeling, it's about Jesus Christ. And I'm going to leave it at that today. Thank you for watching today's video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!